There are creatures that do not hunt flesh. They hunt attention, momentum, hope. You rarely notice them feeding. Not at first. You only notice what remains afterward. The exhaustion, the heaviness, the strange feeling that something has been taken from you. A conversation that leaves you smaller. A meeting that leaves everyone drained. A system that somehow consumes more energy than it creates. And maybe the most unsettling part is, sometimes the vampire isn't a person. Sometimes it's the environment. Hi, my name is Steph Fitzgerald, and I'm the experience architect. I design how systems shape human experience. And this is Experience Systems, where leadership, psychology, and design converge into living systems. But on Sundays, we step somewhere darker, a little stranger, a little softer, a little more midnight. Less lecture, more candlelight, more stories told too late at night. So welcome to Creatures of the Night. And tonight we talk about vampires. Not the type with capes and fangs. Not the type that sleep in coffins. The older kind. The stranger kind. The ones that feed on something harder to see. Energy. Vitality. Life force. And what happens when systems learn to do the same thing? When most people hear the word vampire, they imagine Dracula. A castle, sharp teeth, immortality. But the ideas of creatures feeding on human vitality is far older and far more widespread. Nearly every culture contains some version of the same fear. Something feeds and something weakens. The details change. The pattern remains. In Chinese folklore, there's the Jiangshi, often called the hopping vampire, a reanimated corpse, rigid, unnatural, moving through the night with strange jerking motions. But what makes the Jiangshi important isn't movement. It's consumption. Because the Jiangshi is said to absorb qi, life force, vital energy. It doesn't simply kill. It drains vitality itself. And in some ways, that's far more frightening. Death is immediate. Draining is gradual. You notice it only after enough has already been taken. In Scandinavian folklore, there is the Mara, a being said to sit upon the chest of sleeping people, pressing downward, stilling rest, creating nightmares. In fact, the word nightmare comes from this tradition. The Mara doesn't attack during your strongest moments. It attacks during recovery. And that's important because many modern systems do the same thing. Not just consuming effort, consuming recovery. Emails after hours, constant notifications, the inability to disconnect. Not stilling work, stilling rest. Across European folklore, There are stories of the Incubi and the Succubi, entities that visit people while they sleep, feeding on psychic energy, life force, desire. Again, the pattern emerges. Extraction, consumption, taking without creating. The monster survives through the depletion of another. And that distinction matters enormously because healthy systems generate energy. Unhealthy systems extract it. In the American South, particular within the Gullah folklore, there is the Boo Hag, a terrifying figure that enters homes at night, riding sleeping victims, stilling breath, stilling energy. Victims wake exhausted, drained, unable to explain why. And that feeling feels familiar to many people. Not because of monsters, because of environments. Because many people have experienced systems that leave them feeling exactly the same way. This is where the mythology becomes useful. Because vampires reveal an important distinction. Healthy systems create energy. Unhealthy systems consume it. Think about the difference. A healthy team meeting creates clarity, momentum, connection. People feel energized. A dysfunctional meeting does the opposite. Confusion, frustration, exhaustion. People leave depleted. One creates energy, one extracts it. Modern vampires rarely drink blood. They drink attention. Notifications, outrage cycles, endless scrolling, performative urgency, anything that demands constant attention without creating proportional value, eventually becomes a vampire. Because attention is one of the most important human resources, and many systems compete aggressively to consume it, not because they're evil, because they were designed to capture engagement, whether engagement is healthy or not. Organizations create vampires too. Not people, patterns, unclear priorities, moving targets, performative work, endless approvals, fear-driven decision-making. The most dangerous vampires don't drain individuals. They drain entire teams. They consume enthusiasm, creativity, psychological safety, trust, until eventually everyone is tired. But no one can explain why. One of the strangest things about vampire stories is that they often involve invitation. The vampire must be welcomed in. And psychologically, that's fascinating because humans often participate in systems that drain them out of obligation, habit, familiarity, fear. We keep attending meetings that produce nothing, maintaining commitments that no longer serve us, accepting dynamics that continuously extract energy, not because we want to, because we've forgotten to close the door. Extraction changes people. Slowly, quietly, incrementally. The most dangerous systems rarely destroy people immediately. They diminish them gradually. A little curiosity until a little capacity, until eventually people stop imagining opportunities, until eventually people stop imagining alternatives. Not because alternatives disappeared, because exhaustion replaced possibility. And that is what makes energy vampires such a powerful metaphor, because by the time you notice them, you've often normalized it. Strong leaders are not energy vampires. They are energy generators. Not because they are endlessly positive, not because they never challenge people, because they create clarity, meaning, direction, psychological safety. They leave people more capable than before. And that might be one of the most useful questions a leader can ask. Do people leave interactions with me larger or smaller? More energized or more depleted? Because every system is feeding something. The question is, what? Maybe that's why stories of energy vampires exist everywhere. Because humans recognize extraction instinctively. We know the feeling, the relationship that leaves us smaller, the environment that leaves us exhausted, the system that consumes more than it created. Because not everything that feeds has fangs. Some things feed on time. Some feed on attention. Some feed on hope. Some feed on possibility. And maybe the most important question isn't, what is draining me? Maybe it's, what am I still inviting inside? Because doors can be opened, but they can also be closed. Good night, my creatures. It's time to rise.